Battlefield of Eternity chosen by Leftovers, a Leftovers favorite, but for HeroesHearth it means that they give up the choice of where we go so that they can guarantee and get first pick.
This is an interesting one. I personally can't wait to see what these teams decide to draft on this map. I think HeroesHearth is very strong on this map, just based on results from everything I have seen from them. Leftovers, not as sure about, but again, I really do think that HeroesHearth just need to try to generate some sort of macro pressure against Leftovers, or they might be left out.
Left over?
Left over?
They'll be the ones being left over?
Yeah.
I see what you're doing
Something
there.
like that.
This is game 2 with Leftovers, our European team, number 4 seed, up against the number 1 from NA. HeroesHearth bans Diablo. I saw, was that a dance of happiness?
It was I like it. That was very much a good reaction. It is a solid hero. Once again, Kyla mentioned it perfectly earlier. Maybe taking Mopsio off of some of his favorite heroes could be the reaction that is required here. So I like that they're trying that, and they're not just going to try and do the same thing again. Of course, then also banning out the Genji. The Abathur on Battlefield as a ban, though. Very interesting.
It's something that North America loves to run, and I think that's a fantastic ban. Again, another macro hero, but this is what we're talking about. Instead, HeroesHearth decide to run with the Urel, which is a teamfight focused hero, as opposed to looking at perhaps even a Dahaka.
Yeah.
Generate that macro. But yeah, I absolutely love the fact that the Diablo was banned. It really looked like Mopsio was leading the charge in those fights, and it looked fantastic for Leftovers. What is their 1-2?
Where is Raynor in this? Leftovers had not played Raynor throughout the end of phase 1, but Maiev is still up. They get Maiev and they get Phoenix, which is a classic pick to go along with it. The cage setting up so that Phoenix can hit a lot of people with Purification Salvo. We'll see if there's maybe some slows to add to the equation later on.
Even post Phoenix nerfs, they still have managed to pick up 2 wins on him ever since that patch. So they're looking pretty good with this, and like you mentioned, they already have a good setup. So here is a solid reaction. What happens if you get caught in a Warden's cage? You either block the damage with a good circle of protection potentially, or you portal out. Well, a cage does not matter if there's a door in it.
Very true. I wonder if a Stukov is going to be a ban target for HeroesHearth, or perhaps it's going to be a Deckard Cain. To me, it looks like one of those two. Or do they just try to take away another hero from Mopsio? Because when you see, or when you have the Medivh and your opponents don't have a support, those are two very realistic bans for HeroesHearth. They're taking a little bit of time here. They got 20 seconds. Raynor was the ban for Leftovers, so the Leftovers just wanting to remove that consistent backline carry, even though they just beat it when Chrome was playing that one. And there is the Deckard Cain ban. Absolutely fantastic.
Very much so. Good slows for Phoenix. Fantastic poke on this map as well, where poke can just be so important. And of course, a good wombo combo setting up with the Maiev. And Link played it so well last game, you cannot possibly fault this ban.
What's very interesting to me heading into this match is that both of these teams have some of the least amount of heroes played in their respective regions, because Leftovers are a lot like HeroesHearth. They have their power picks on each role. And now being able to get Maiev, Phoenix together, they have Blaze now for Podyboss. These are a lot of strong picks for them. They will have Malfurion. You know, he is more vulnerable, so maybe that's something that HeroesHearth can get on top of with the Medivh.
The Malfurion as well does give the option, if they want to go more to Twilight Dream style, even more wombo potential, and actually reaction potential to the portals, being able to drop that route underneath the portal. So what we see here instead is the Rhaegar coming in from HeroesHearth as their support. Starters, fantastic immortal damage, allows them to potentially go for a little bit of race that Leftovers are currently very much lacking. And it also gives them the opportunity to go for aggressive rush in team fights with, if they wanted to, the potential Bloodlust doesn't affect Medivh that much, but if not, Ancestral with a Force of Will to protect and let it go through is fantastic.
Can't count on the cleanse either, especially, you know, this Murden coming in last pick. I think that's a great choice. What's interesting to me is the fact that Leftovers are playing against a Medivh and a Garrosh, but they elect to choose a hero that can get dove easily over. I mean, Stukov can get dove easily as well, but that silence has proven to be extremely effective against heroes such as Medivh and Garrosh so far, even just in this tournament.
Yeah, perhaps it is that Link is so confident in his positioning that once people come through the portal, then he has the roots there, and then they have a lot of engagement possibilities. You know, Murden, he had the double stun once he stacks that up. You've got Jet Propulsion too, and then having that control there and being able to jump on top of them, and then he can step back forward with the Twilight Dream. What did you think of the draft, Tetcher? Sorry, I know your name.
I think Leftovers draft, the front line of it is the best word I can use to describe it is stalwart. They have so much protection for the backline. The portals, though, can skip this. So we already mentioned Malfurion is so vulnerable. If they can drop the roots, though, that's a counter engage waiting to happen. Whereas, of course, we've already seen just exactly what Maiev can do in terms of set up engage. I think I actually barely prefer Leftovers draft this time. I think they have enough for that classic salvo combo if they can CC Medivh.
Well, it is their battleground choice, so we'll see if they can 2-0 the NA top-tier team, or if Heroes Hearth will take us to Game 3. Casters, over to you.
Well, Lauren, you and I were back here watching the draft, and as the draft started to unfold, we kept giving each other that side eye, like, you seeing this, I'm seeing this, what you feeling about this?
Well, Heroes Hearth is always a very dynamic and exciting team, but I don't think they wanted it in this fashion where they're going down against the 4th seed in EU. But they seem to be very confident in themselves and this Garrosh pick, but with this high execution comp in Medivh, their coordination is going to have to be there.
Coordination will be necessary as we head into game number 2 here for Heroes Hearth. They need to pull it together. You don't want to have a third North American team fall to Europe in the early part of the day. We know Kaldor loves that way too much. As Ishbu, he will be taking his turn on that Garrosh this time. Arthlon, he's known to play those clever heroes. Maiev last game, Medivh this time. McIntyre, of course, getting his favorite Urel. BBJ, of course, going to be supporting it all on Rhaegar, but Krohn, he's trying to bring it home on a classic hero for him with Greymane.
He's in a good spot over on the right side. Also in a good spot, up 1-0 in his best of 3. Hodaboss, he's going to be playing Blaze DAB. Not on leaving this time on Phoenix. Link is going to switch over to Malfurion. Blakitny is now on Maiev. And Mopsio will be looking to ring people's bells with Murder.
Well, right away, this is the changed Malfurion, so we do see Celestial alignment. This has been around for a while, but getting the extra reveal on that duration when you hit with the Moonfire, but also empowering your basic attacks. So Lynx, if he liked to be aggressive before and he wants to move forward, we'll see if those portals can get onto him if he finds his way in. So we'll see how that plays out as this game goes on.
Knowledge is power. Being able to pick out those macro decisions, those rotations can only help Leftovers at critical points in this game. Medivh flying overhead, not going to bring too much to the table in terms of wave clear or early aggression. You want to teleport into towers. That could be pretty bad for your health. But both of these teams just kind of understanding. But look at the brazenness out of Leftovers, dropping those sprays down.
Dude, Leftovers has such a cavalier attitude. I mean, they're like the Outlaws. They know that they're not the favored team. They're not the team that everybody is rooting for, but they are the underdog. And I can guarantee you, if you have the opportunities that we have to talk to these guys behind the scenes, this is a fun bunch. They are a blast to talk to. They understand their position. They know what they're capable of. If they pull off a run, I wouldn't be surprised, but they are fun to watch nonetheless.
Yeah, they have nothing to lose here. If they went down 0-2, it's like, okay, well, that's the #1 seed, but they're looking to go in. A nice Humblebind's going to lock in Heroes Hearth for the moment, and Garrosh has no escape. First to get taken down, McIntyre goes in on the back line, trying to trade out on Blakitny, but that's not going to work out. Mopseal's going to hang around, land and stun before he gets taken down. 2-for-1 trade so far. These teams are brawling right now, JL.
It's game number 1, except game number 2 at the end of it. I mean, the fact that, okay, listen, I watch a lot of heroes, and we'll see different maps have different rotations, but when I see both of the solo laners come down from top to bottom on Battlefield of Eternity, I know I am not watching a normal game. So a different approach, a scrappy approach, and a 3-for-1 trade. I hate to say it, but this feels oddly familiar for Leftovers.
Oddly enough, Heroes Hearth, I think they're a team that loves the scrap. Some of their most amazing player is when they're able to coordinate heroics. They pull off compositions that don't really seem to make any kind of sense, but they're finding a really tough opponent in Leftovers. This team looks to rumble also, and they're getting the upper hand. 3 takedowns to 2.5 minutes in a game, like you said, on Battlefield of Eternity. It's not a good sign.
Heroes Hearth does get the camp at the top of the map, so that will give them some control. Hand of Freedom picked up again by Urel. So for those members that are slowed by the oil, we know Salvo does more damage to slowed heroes, so that is one way to mitigate some damage. They talked about cleanse as well with Rhaegar, self-cleanse for Garrosh. So there are things that you can go, and then of course Medivh, especially if he goes into Circle of Protection. There are so many options for Heroes Hearth to survive potential onslaughts as this game goes on. Some of those starting to come online here as early as level 4.
They got to make it to the mid to late game. McIntyre's going to get called out to the carpet with the Humblebind. The root goes in also, but the portal's going to be able to let them escape. Urel gets taken down, but the Malfurion for a 1-for-1 trade without support. We could see Heroes Hearth look to go back in.
Yeah, that is a chance for them. Blaze still at the bottom, dealing with that Shaman camp. So see if we get a portal in. If they find it, they will engage. The DAB putting pressure on Ishbu, trying to engage. But one of the things that does so well is that slow, and there's a stun, Indomitable forced to be used as Ishbu does get the portal out. Krohn might not be so lucky. He's being tracked down. The support is there, and DAB is continuing to go in here.
Ishbu's getting bullied, and it's opening up huge opportunities for Leftovers. And Medivh is going to get rocked, comes out of the portal as a corpse. That is going to be the 5th takedown for Leftovers. They are not afraid of this engagement from HeroesHearth at all.
The fact that DAB is that aggressive, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to watch about this player is that he's still finding his limits very much in the HGC environment. You know, there was some RNG at play for Ishbu because he wanted to walk away from that, but as we had mentioned it previously, something I talked about with Paula on our first game is one of the reasons Garrosh started to fall out of the meta was just as more and more ranged assassins came in, the control of a Jaina. All of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, that plasma cutter, see if that plasma cutter comes in effect here, but Ishbu needs a way to engage, dominable force to be used there. Things getting scrappy again. McIntyre, this is another takedown. This is almost hard to believe. 6 kills in 4.5 minutes.
That's a Mac-and-Ref in the chat. The portal was going to go further into enemy territory. There was no way Uro was going to be able to make it out of there. To HeroesHearth's credit, they were able to use Greymane to burn down the Immortal, but with so much dominance being showed early and often from Leftovers, they have to be looking to plan B or C right now.
Where is plan B with this? Everything about this, Medivh is probably your best bet for things scaling up. But Ishbu is having an impossible time with these soft engages, and it is strictly reliant on Medivh. And when they haven't been able to get the kills, you don't get longer duration for quite some time. And so when they're not getting these snap kills, they are struggling. Later on, as the heroics start to come online, they'll have more opportunities. But this early game is looking rough.
They're going to need to get a ton of value out of Taunt because anytime they throw someone out of position, Leftovers, they have Merlin and Mayim. They're more than happy to jump in and get that party started. So the isolation is not necessarily there. Good amount of value had out of the Immortal. The chip damage is starting to be applied to the top fort. Ishbu catches the stun from Mopsio, who gets thrown afterwards. He's going to jump over the wall and be okay. But the stun on a DAB, he's in a tough spot. That looks like it's going to be another takedown. Phoenix gets roasted.
I think he found a limit.
That's right about that.
He likes to be aggressive. That time, maybe too aggressive, as HeroesHearth finally able to get a counter kill in what seems like forever they've been in these fights. And I can tell you one thing, as great as Greymane is at racing, that requires you to be in Worgen form. Defending an Immortal in Worgen form is no easy task. It puts yourself at such high risk, and Medivh doesn't have great defense. So the anti-siege against an Immortal on the side of HeroesHearth is not too great, so those moments could have been far worse, but they do keep the fort alive, keeps them within a respectable margin of experience to stay in this game. They're seeing if they can get more by way of structures here in the top.
HeroesHearth is going to be able to get out of there. Crone was playing forward, knew he had the portal there. Ishbu's going to get targeted, has the Unstoppable, has the Protected. Not going to be enough, gets yanked back. Bungee Cord's going to isolate Ishbu. Mopsio with the body block is going to net. Take down number 7 for Leftovers. The portal is going to allow Arthaline to get out of there. But again, Jayhow, that's another instance where HeroesHearth tries to take the fight to Leftovers, and they end up paying for it in the end.
The amount of slows between the Phoenix and the Muradin. I mean, Muradin just presses W when he gets near you. He's got that double. Oh, Arthaline playing with fire. Those stacks were reset, and he has not had many chances to get those. Sitting on 4 stacks, and for Leftovers, they find themselves with a full level lead and only 15 seconds out from our second Immortal.
That is a long road to level 10 for HeroesHearth. They're definitely staring down the barrel of another Immortal and another tough situation to try to defend with Medivh on an Immortal on Battlefield of Eternity. The macro play, again, continues to be there for Leftovers, perfectly timing the Bruiser camp. That's going to get value if it's left to its own devices. Mopsio and the crew waste no time jumping on this Immortal. They smell blood in the water, Jayhow. They're going in.
For HeroesHearth, they see the speed at which that is falling. They know they have an escape portal there, and that's exactly what they do. They're just trying to mitigate their losses at this point. They know that they'll inevitably lose this race, especially with this, but this is in their favor if they want to get some more damage on. And all they're going to do is use the Medivh, scout out, making sure that they at least have numbers. You see 3 to 4 members over there on the side of Leftovers. You know that you can get in here, put some more damage on, soften that shield a little bit, and then allow HeroesHearth to have an easier defense. They're also going to proc that Shaman camp, so it does allow them to have some counter push in that bot lane, but they're going to have to deal with that top.
It's actually hard to find more value for Leftovers in this situation. They get the top fort for free thanks to the Bruiser camp. They come away with the Immortal. Mopsio is able to walk into a 1v4 feeling confident that he'd be able to escape because there just hasn't been the damage there from HeroesHearth. Now on the flank, we could see some action.
Blaze on the happy cloud, looking to put some faces on the side of HeroesHearth, and I guarantee they are not smiling. Once Urel cleans up that top camp, she's now on her way down. McIntyre will look for a flank of his own. Now that the shield is down, this Immortal will move into melee range. It gives you the chance to dive behind that and take the fight beyond that. Because the Immortal does not have the same mechanics as the Punisher, it's something we've seen teams do before, but for HeroesHearth, that anti-siege, they're gonna have to play back and just defend and salvage what they can.
Keep wall at the minimum for Leftovers. That's what they're looking for. McIntyre again finds himself out in Africa. The bunker's going to go down. The root locks in Ishbu for the moment. BBJ catches the Umbrebind. Yanked out, able to jump into wolf form, get back to dodge. Kerwin out on the flank, just trying to take down this Immortal. That was a pretty brazen choice by McIntyre to go out there that far.
Just out of range, the portal comes in. They looked for that fight. It was their one chance to look for that fight, dive behind it, couldn't find an opening, and now they walk away. Leftovers in the driver's seat. Don't quite have 13. They see that HeroesHearth is still on the aggressive side, so they can give up this camp. Make sure that they defend against this, no problem. Get 13. Look for an advantage beyond theirs. There's no need in risking it because the experience advantage definitely in their favor, but structure-wise, things looking very good for Leftovers.
Imagine being a team in the 4th seed and you're worried about the #1 seed of North America out-macroing you, and you're in a position like this where HeroesHearth is going to be walking in potentially to a 13-tier advantage after you've gone up in decisive fashion in game number 1. Leftovers, they came out here for fun, experience, and vacation, but they could look to be playing pretty for real going into the end of the tournament.
I think it was very telling when we heard from Kala and Tetra, and he said, well, you're taking away a lot of the macro heroes. So if you're afraid of just not being able to take the macro heroes away, just take away the map. And so there's not a lot of macro on Battlefield of Eternity, a lot of skirmishing, which is definitely what we saw in Towers of Doom. So playing into their hand, it seems like, for Leftovers. HeroesHearth still have quite a few ways to get back into this. We saw the portal engagement. They have the polymorph, the polybomb that could potentially go off. They have the taunt. They have the blow-up potential with a Rhaegar and a Greymane. So they have several opportunities to still get back into this game. It's not until you start to lose keeps that you start to worry a little on this map. But even then, as we've seen from teams like Dignitas last year, I think against Ballistics, and I think it happened twice. You don't win the game until you lose both keeps. It felt like that was the comeback potential. So Battlefield of Eternity, still a lot of time left for HeroesHearth to make their way back into this game.
They're only half a level away to getting level 13 and on even talents here, so there is plenty of time, like you said. But there's the throw, the stun from Ishbu, and the immediate retreat. They know they don't have the 13, but Kidney's going to look to try to yank somebody. Ishbu's the target. Gets the unstoppable. Perfectly timed to secure the disengage. That was close.
The Indomitable perfectly timed. He got it right on the edge of that. I'm like, is he going to? Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah, they want to get some of that trickle-down experience. They also have the wave in the top lane, which will give them that 13. And now they have the immediate re-engage with the Greymane, with that lightning shield. Does allow you to raise this pretty well. Numbers there in favor of HeroesHearth, and if they can get 13, depending on placement here, this is their chance. Even talent tiers now as 13's been picked up. We'll see how the placement comes out and how the next phase unfolds, and it's top-bottom again. Something's got to give now.
Baiting Leftovers to go in that chase before they got the 13, gave them this opportunity to actually get ahead in the race and get to level 13. This is a team fight that they have to take. The cleanse gets used early on the prone. The follow-up shadow or the stun from Blaze, not going to be enough to secure the takedown. The ancestral healing has to get used early in the fight just to save Ishbu. Again, the front line's on the retreat. Arcline's the target, and the salvo is unloading on HeroesHearth. Medivh gets blown up.
HeroesHearth just constantly, despite having the Garrosh, the Urel, and the portals, they constantly find themselves using everything defensively, backing away defensively to deal with the amount of pressure that Leftovers comes right back in. And you can credit Podyboss on a lot of these engagements for getting the initiating part, but then Medivh or Maiev comes in, and all of a sudden you're getting tethered this way and that. And once that Ancestral was down, forced to be used on the front line of a Garrosh, you know that you have an advantage. So now, next Immortal phase, they snap, rotate over to that Shaman camp, which will now be pushing behind this Immortal. And now, for Leftovers, Keep looks very promising. And if we see the same type of aggression, they're low on cooldowns on the Heroics. But 1 or 2 picks here, and HeroesHearth, they got a long day today.
For a second there, I thought I was casting Heroes of the Dorm again because Clash looks to be in session. Leftovers with the perfectly timed Bruiser Camp is going to be able to rock and roll in this top lane. They're looking for the keep ball at the very least. They're looking for catapults. If they can get a takedown or two, this could be a quick 2-0. It's going to be really tough for HeroesHearth to defend against this. They're going to have to show up.
There it is. There's Blakitny making a play. Cleanse was used. That will save Kron for the moment. But again, the anti-siege of HeroesHearth is abysmal at this point. Kron just trying to get away. He has to get out of there, but he does not make it. And now here's the moment. Leftover. They're going to try and end it right now. 14 minutes in. Tranquility's out, keeping them alive. Shields are down on the side of HeroesHearth. And now 90%, 80%, and falling in. HeroesHearth, they're against the ropes, so Lauren.
HeroesHearth, the #1 seed of North America, NA's hope, is going to get taken down in convincing, decisive fashion by the Leftovers, and they're dabbing. Ooh. They are dabbing right now, Jay.
You know they're feeling good. The anti-siege of the HeroesHearth composition was so tough in those defenses of the Immortals that every one of those against other compositions you think, okay, they can hold against this. They have different tools to hold against this. But the minute we saw, I mean, I really hope that we get another look at that because it was just Blakitny. The minute Greymane showed up, Crowan went forward, Blakitny's like, it's on, let's end this right now. And that is their only real line of damage defense. And so they make it, he stepped forward, the instant Spirit of Vengeance in, blinks, grabs him on, and the amount of stuns, follow-up control, Crowan unable to make it through that portal, that was right there what sealed the deal for Leftovers.
If there were any jitters about playing on stage in an offline event, I did not see them at all from any of the newer members here in HGC for the Leftovers. HeroesHearth, I feel like they put themselves in that position, though. The compositions that they chose were high execution, arguably one-dimensional. If you don't make Medivh work on a battleground like Battlefield of Eternity, you're going to be looking at the defeat screen. HeroesHearth needs to come up with a more standard draft in the lower bracket.
I think you can credit a lot to Leftovers, their strategy coming in, their drafting, the bans, the target banning that we saw, the Hanzo. We know Hanzo has an incredible win rate all around on Battlefield of Eternity, but then you take away the Rainer and you're like, where are you going? You picked up the Phoenix for yourself, which is something DAB excels on very well. So at that point, you're thinking, where are we getting our damage? Greymane's fine. You got to wonder if maybe instead of that Medivh, all of a sudden Li Ming comes in for yourself. Find some way to get different types of damage, play more standard, but as you said, high execution composition. And when you don't execute on that and it's used defensively instead of offensively, you're going to struggle.
If you're looking at Garrosh's back the entire game because he's running away from you, you're going to have a pretty good time. But the analysts, they're already at the desk with Linked, who's probably going to have a lot to say about that series.
Thank you guys. Indeed, we are here with Linked from Leftovers. Congratulations, Linked. You guys 2-0, the NA #1 seed. Was this expected from you guys?
We actually thought we were going to come here and going to get stomped. But as a famous Swedish cosplayer said, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you play NA.
And the dab and all! You're winning over the hearts of the crowd now, I can tell, Linked. Tetra, you have any questions?
Just fantastic. Just congratulations for starters. Incredibly well done. And do you think this changes your expectations now? You've taken out the #1 seed from North America. Are you guys still just going to try and cruise through a bit and just see how far you can get and try and learn? Or does this change your expectations? Do you think you can go a lot higher now?
Actually, how I think is that we play on stage a lot better than we play on scrims, but playing against the other EU teams, it's still gonna be a hard matchup. But playing against the other NA teams, I think we have a good shot at beating them.
First off, congratulations. Absolutely amazing performance, especially by you. You know, I went over a replay of yours, and it was all set up basically by you. I call you one of the carries on the team. So personally, I just wanted to pump you up there a little bit. I think that your play was absolutely fantastic. My one question is, was your guys', and feel free to just tell me not to ask this sort of question, but was your overall strategy to just remove, you know, controlling style heroes from HeroesHearth and just focus exclusively on team fighting?
That's more of the Blakitny's and Mopsios case, because I'm not drafting, I just perform on the stage. But we played Method a lot, so the second game when they picked Medivh, we kind of knew how to play the matchup.
Yeah.
Now, Linked, I know you have experience on stage in front of a crowd, and you guys have DAB and Podyboss who hadn't done that before, and especially playing versus a crowd that is going to cheer for their NA team. You know, what were the nerves there? And if so, it didn't seem like it for us. How long did it take before they were gone?
Actually, since we're the underdogs, we didn't have much expectations, so we just like went in YOLO style and took the series.
Nice. Are there any final questions that we have for Linked?
I don't think so for myself. I do have a replay that I wanted to go over
great.
with everybody. To me, it was just, I felt like HeroesHearth didn't set up their fights properly. If we look at this situation right now, we see the top and bottom side Immortals spawned here. Defensive spawning here for HeroesHearth, and then on the bottom side, of course, for Leftovers. But watch the way that HeroesHearth sort of enter into this situation. They just don't seem to all be on the same page. As we scroll forward here, we see McIntyre just jumping over the wall, and to me, immediately when I saw this, I was like, I'm not sure what HeroesHearth are trying to do, and that opened up an opportunity for the Leftovers to push in. We see this right now. The Storm, as soon as McIntyre jumps over Mopsio, it's like, yes, boys, let's go. Start moving in here, and then this is basically the start to the end of the game. Huge combinations from the rest of Leftovers. They end up getting kills off of this, which secures themselves a very healthy Immortal, as we see down here, and then they basically just push in top off of this and secure the game. And to me, this was all set up by HeroesHearth just not really knowing where to go with this fight. If they wanted to take a team fight, why wouldn't they take it on their Immortal?
And actually, that has inspired me for one more question directly at you. Even with the potential for all of that hard engage from the portal, for example, what is the mindset of taking Tranquility over potential Twilight Dream for the turnaround plays?
Okay, so their team comp, like Yril and Garrosh, are pretty tanky, so the silence doesn't do much, and actually Medivh can counter it as well with a shield, so having more sustain in the team fight is a lot better, in my opinion, than me actually having to run it down with the silence and trying to make a big play for it.
All right, cool.
Well, thank you very much, Link, for joining us. Congratulations and good luck to you in your future and your team for the rest of the tournament. For now, we're going to head to a commercial break. When we come back, Team Liquid versus Team Freedom. Stay tuned.
We got what we came for. They got their altar. Some sappers, I believe, made it across on the bottom, maybe, because that was still pushing, so they have it. Now they're looking for more.
There's the Humble Bind. They're definitely going to target Diablo. Like, Garrosh gets nuked right at the beginning of his team fight. He's living his life on the back line, looking for McIntyre. 2 heroes down inside of HeroesHearth, and Leftovers are not done yet. Mopsio looking to turn their attention over to BBJ, who has no means of escape. He's just kind of delaying the inevitable.
Dude, D-A-B, I'm telling you, this guy is an absolute killer. I love watching.
Team gave them this opportunity to actually get ahead in the race and get to level 13. This is a team fight that they have to take. The cleanse gets used early on the prone to follow up. Shadow, or the stun from Blaze, not going to be enough to secure the takedown. The ancestral healing has to be used early in the fight just to save Ishbu. Again, the front line's on the retreat. Arthaline's the target, and the salvo is unloading on HeroesHearth. Medivh gets blown up.
Save Kron for the moment, but again, the anti-siege of HeroesHearth is abysmal at this point. Kron just trying to get away. He has to get out of there, but he does not make it, and now here's the moment. Leftover, they're going to try and end it right now. 14 minutes in. Tranquility's out, keeping them alive. Shields are down on the side of HeroesHearth, and now 90%, 80%, and falling in HeroesHearth. They're against the ropes, Lauren.